Welcome back to part 3 of converting my Hilux Surf into a microcamper. God, that sun's blinding. It's another gorgeous day out here, and I've been making the most of it. I've been busy in the Hilux. Wait till you get a load of this. Now, after the last video, when I had the cardboard boxes over there in the corner, so you could get sort of a rough idea of how it would look when there was some kind of unit in here, I thought the only way to really do it is to measure how much space I've got in here, and then go and have a look around and see what I could find that I could use as a unit. So my immediate thought, obviously, was using other camper van units. So I had a quick look online. I use Marketplace, I use eBay, just a general search on Google, etc. And I was searching for camper van or motorhome kitchen units, because that's essentially what I need. I need a kitchen unit or a couple of kitchen units. So that's what I was searching for. And I did find loads of them. Found loads of caravan breakers, because they would work as well. So I found loads of caravan breakers, loads of motorhome breakers. The problem was the price. And not only that, well, there was two problems really. There was two problems. There was the price and there was the sizes. Now, as I said in the last video, I'm trying to do this on a budget. I want to try and do it for less than £2,500 here in the UK, in order to, including rather, the purchase price of the car. Now, the car cost me, I think we agreed on 1,400, so 1,400 is what the car cost us, which leaves me 1,100 to do the full conversion in the back, which does limit me to some degree, but I think I may have found a way around it. Now, when I was looking at the units, the space that I've got available would be from that corner down there where the carpet meets the plastic trim, right up to the window. And I was going to go to that dark line, ignore the blue tape line, but the dark shadow line in the middle of the screen where that sort of darker spot is there. I wanted to take the top of the unit to that level, because that meets nicely where the trim slopes down from the window, and I thought that would be a perfect height. So I measured that height from that line all the way down to where the carpet is in the corner. That comes up at 530 millimeters. Now, I didn't think that was too bad, 530 millimeters. However, the problem is, when I've been looking at the units online, the smallest in height, the shortest, if you like, the shortest kitchen unit I can find from a scrap caravan or a motorhome or a camper van rather, the shortest one I can find, 747 millimeters, so 74, well, say 75 centimeters. So the smallest one I can find is 75 centimeters. That's no good, because 75 centimeters would bring it to about there on the window, and that only gives me that much light up there above that. Now, there's nothing really wrong with that height and using something that height here in the back of the car, but don't forget, I need to be able to comfortably reach the top of it to be able to prepare what kind of meal I'm doing, if I'm going to do a sandwich or a quickly cooked meal in the back of the car, or if I'm just making a cup of coffee or something like that, or maybe if I've got a laptop or an iPad on the desk and I want to be able to use it, I've got to be at a comfortable height for me. As a taller person, being 6 foot, I have to be at a comfortable height for me. And I can't be in a position where obviously I'm reaching close to the top of my head to try and reach something. Plus, there's not going to be an awful lot of gap between the top of the unit and the roof of the car, which was an issue. And I searched everywhere. The amount of places I've looked to try and find something. The only thing I could come up with, really, there was two, but before I get into the second one, the only one thing I could come up with that I found that would work was having some kind of unit custom built, or built especially to my measurements or my design. And obviously that was going to be horrendously expensive. That was going to, I would imagine, would take the price well over the budget. I mean, I only want a simple unit. That's all I want. And then this happened, and I found this. Now, in case it's not immediately obvious, that picture you've just seen, that is of a unit. It's of a short unit. What it actually is, it's advertised as being a top cupboard. So, you know, when you step into a caravan or a motorhome, there's cupboards above your head in the kitchen. So you've got maybe your kitchen worktop here, and then up above that, you've got a couple more cupboards with the doors that will open up over that way, so you can reach in and get whatever you want, a little bit of storage in there. That's what that is. Now, that unit is 300 millimeters, so 30 centimeters deep, if you like, so 30 centimeters depth, and it's also 30 centimeters height, and they come in various lengths to fit along the back of the car. Now, that looked as though it might work. So I had a decent look at that, a good look at all the ones that are available, and I found one that's really reasonably priced. I haven't ordered it yet because I wanted to check the rest of the measurements to see what it was going to look like in here, which is why we're in here today, and I'll show you that in a minute. But that unit, it's an upper cupboard unit that goes in the kitchen of a caravan or in the kitchen of a motorhome. Now it comes with two cupboard doors on it, or two hatches on it if you like. They both open up over. Now I was just going to go straight for it, and then I was thinking, well, that's going to be a little bit of an issue, because if I'm sat back here, if I sit up for a couple of minutes, so if I'm sat here in what would be the bed area or the lounge area through the day, and I want something out of that cupboard down there, if I open that cupboard up over that way, then I'm not really going to be able to look down to see what's in there. I want to be able to see what's in there as soon as I open the door effectively, so I don't go for the wrong thing, or I can check up on how much of everything I've got. Is there enough food in there, enough coffee, etc., etc. So what I decided on was maybe using that unit, but instead of just fitting it the way it comes, if I turn it upside down and I put it in upside down, then those two doors will be slightly higher up off the ground, and they'll open down over. Now, if they open down over, it'll be so much easier to open the hatch and see what's in there without having to sort of feel around and hope I've got my hand on the right thing. I hope I'm making it clear. What I'll do is I'll take another copy of that photograph I showed you of the unit, and I'll turn the photograph upside down and put it back in the video here. So on this bit, you can actually see how those doors would open. They would actually flip down over instead of flipping up over. And the other thing is, they come as a flat pack, as a kit you have to put together yourself. Now, the way they come, because they're meant to mount onto a solid wall of a van or a caravan, and next to the solid ceiling of a caravan or a van or a motorhome or something like that, they only come with a base. So you have the base, and you have the two sides, and then you have the front piece where the two doors are. It doesn't come with a backing of any sort, and it doesn't come with a top of any sort, which, in all fairness, works out really well for me. So I did a bit more accurate measuring, and also with the use of some wonderful masking tape. 300 millimeters or 30 centimeters from that corner of the car would bring it out to there. So you've got that. Now that's how much space it will come out by, and then obviously that goes all the way along here to just past the wheel arch, and then it goes up the side of the car and will go across there, making it just under where I want it to be in the first place. So this might give you a better view of how far out it is. So my cupboard space would be from here all the way to there. That's how much space I have for cupboard. Now you can get a couple of plastic storage containers in there. You could get clothes in there folded or rolled up. You could get jars of coffee down here, because admittedly it's going to be a bit less space here because of the wheel arch, but obviously the whole unit is going to be all the way up here above the wheel arch, so we'll maybe be able to work that into using that somehow, utilising that somehow as well, and that will come all the way down here, and then it's going to go up just about where the latch is for the rear seats, and over that latch there that I think also has something to do with the rear seat. I'm not 100% certain what that is. I've got one of those pull-out load covers for the back of it, so that clip there might well be for that. I've never investigated that because I've never had the load cover in here or the bed cover in here. Now, you may not have noticed straight away in that last clip, but 30 centimetres out from the wall of the car and 30 centimetres up means it should pretty much be square, looking at how it is with the tape in the back of the car. Now, it's actually not, because that space there from the edge of the tape here over to there is 30 centimetres. But obviously, if that's 30 centimetres, then that there is an awful lot more than 30 centimetres. And the reason for that is when the unit comes, it's going to have the base on the bottom, because I'm going to turn it upside down. So it'll have a base on the bottom, but it won't have nothing on the top. And I don't think it comes with a divider to separate the two cupboards. So I'll be making my own divider to go in the middle to separate them, and I'll also be making a worktop to go across the top of it, because it won't have anything on the top. And I need a worktop because I have to have something to stand things on, rest things on, and put an iPad or a laptop on there as well. So my idea behind that was, what I'll do is me making the worktop myself. Now when I make it, it's going to sit about there. But rather than being a fixed worktop, I'm going to make it so it's on hinges so that I can lift it up. It's difficult with the paper. But if that's the way the worktop sits, obviously it'll come out the 30 centimetres. And then if there's anything in there that I want, so I can have hinges so I can get into it. And the reason I'm thinking of putting it on hinges is because the one problem that I seem to see in all the van conversions, and all the micro camper conversions, the same problem seems to be creeping up over and over again. And even in some of the camper vans you can buy, especially the ones like the VWs with the rock and roll beds in the back that slide out. Now, due to the limits of space, due to the limits of space inside a van, when you do some kind of conversion like that, you seem to find that when the bed's folded out at night to use, it blocks access to the cupboard doors or any lockers or anything like that. The bed, as it folds down, seems to block access to that off, and you can't get in there anymore. So my thinking was, if I'm in here during the night in bed, and I wake up in the middle of the night and I don't know, I'm thirsty, I want a drink or something, or I want a snack or something like that, or I've already put the bed down and I want to be back in the cupboard to get something out, like a battery charger for the one of the devices or some form of snack, I'd have to put the bed away again to open one of the hatches on one of the cupboards to get out what I wanted to get out. So if I put a worktop on that hinges towards the side of the car, and then I put all the stuff that I think I may need access to through the night, or once the bed's made and the bed's down, if I put all that stuff higher up in the cupboard, then that means that when the bed's down, all I've got to do is lift the worktop up and I've got full access to everything that's in there. And hopefully that'll work. At least I'm thinking that'll work. And of course, with me having to make the worktop, it means that the entire unit is going to sit a bit higher than it did when I put it together from when I first bought it, assuming I buy this one or buy that one or something similar to the one I've already shown you in the photographs, which is why there seems to be more tape going up the side wall of the car than there is coming out from the side wall of the car. So I think pretty much that's the unit planned. I think we'll go with something like that. So the unit's going to come along to about there, which still gives full access to the door. The door's still open. I've still got to work on what I'm doing down here with the sliding out drawers and the rest of the bed area, etc. I haven't sorted that out yet, but I am working on that. But this one here, I think is going to work really well. It's going to come out to about there, and then it'll shoot all the way along here towards the back. The reason there's a bit of a space here is because this curves. So there's a bit of a curvature there, and I don't want to go all the way back to the end because I might want to put something in there. I'm not sure what yet, but that would appear to be a handy little storage space for when the tailgate's shut. Maybe you could put a small bag or something in there, or some toiletries or something like that in a sort of a corner shelf, if I think of doing something like that. But I didn't want it to go all the way across the back. I wanted it to stop there. It is on a bit of a curve there, so that might come in a little bit. But I think pretty much that's where the unit's going to be. And of course, as I said in a previous video, doing the unit that way is still going to allow me to have access to that cubby hole. So that's like a bit of an extra storage area, which you can't go wrong with in here. So that was it, kind of for me thinking on the design of a unit to go in there. And I think that'll work. Fingers crossed. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't work. Obviously, this won't be here. The seatbelt will all be gone because the back seats will be coming out, so that seatbelt won't be there. So ignore that for now. And then that brings us nicely to the issue of the bed, the seating area, the living area, if you like, and then the bed as well, because obviously there's not a lot of space in the back of one of these things when you're trying to make it in a micro camper. But I think I may have gotten it sorted. I think I've come up with an answer. This is what it looks like with all the blue tape. So taking the blue tape from that side of the car all the way across to there, so to that line there, and then running down the side of the back of the car here. So we're looking at this paper line here, and it goes all the way back behind me. Now the reason that this bit is here is because during the day, this bit here will be folded up on top of this bit here to make like a seating area. So this will be the seating area during the day, which also comes all the way back to behind me here. So that's going to be the seating area during the day. And then at night, when you want to put the bed together or climb into bed, the seating area will actually fold out to double its width. Now, looking at it from here, I was slightly concerned at how wide it was, but I did some research online. Now, bearing in mind, this is primarily being set up, I'm primarily designing this for myself, so there's only going to be me in here, so I don't need to worry about anybody else or space for anybody else. So once the bed's converted from the daytime seating area or living area and folded out to make the bed, its actual width will be 100 centimetres or 1,000 millimetres if you prefer to work in millimetres. And its length from the back of the car there to up here, so from that line there all the way down here to there. Now that's as far as I can go with the tape, because obviously these seats are still in at the moment, but I can add another 20 centimetres from the edge of that tape to the back of this seat, or down here behind the seat base. So there's 20 centimetres to add on to that, and it works out that I can get from behind this seat base all the way down here to the back of the car, works out at being 180 centimetres. So during the day, as a seating area, it's going to be about 50 centimetres wide, and then folded over on top of that, there'll be another 50 centimetres to take it to there. And then once it's folded out, that's going to be 100 centimetres wide, and it's going to be about 180 centimetres in length. So I did a bit of research online and found out that the average size of a single bed in the UK is 90 centimetres wide by 190 centimetres long. Now the bed in here, the way I've got it taped out at the moment, or it will be with the added tape on when the seat's on there, it's actually going to be 100 centimetres wide by 180 centimetres long. So roughly 10 centimetres wider than the average single bed is in the UK, and also about 10 centimetres shorter than the average bed is in the UK. But having said that, I'm not sure I know anybody who, when they go to sleep, spend the entire night flat out like a ruler. Some of you might. It may happen. We normally don't know because we're normally asleep. I don't think I do. I go to sleep on my side when my legs curled up, and I tend to wake up on my side when my legs curled out, whether I toss and turn through the night or not. But to try and give you some kind of example of what it'll look like, I'm going to try and lie down in the space available. Now, it's going to be a little bit shorter because obviously the seat bases are still in, and I would be taking those out before I put the bed in as a sort of a semi-permanent structure. But let's try that and see if I can actually fit into this space without my feet going outside of the lines down there. Well, this is a weird position to be in. Hopefully it's working out. As you can see, my head's up tight against what is now the seat base, but obviously the seat base won't be here. It'll be gone altogether, and there'll be a pillow here. So imagine my head being propped up on a pillow. And then if we look down the rest of the car, there's my feet, and there's the blue line. So I'm not actually over the blue line, and even if I was, I do have that extra bit of space there. So I think that's going to work out quite well. So it's going to, literally, if I'm in here trying to get to sleep at night, I've got from there all the way up here to just beyond those seat bases, the back of the driver's seat as an example, and there will be pillows in here. So yeah, I think this will actually work. The way I'm lying at the minute, with my feet curled up, and my legs curled up rather, it is quite comfortable. Admittedly, this bit isn't ideally comfortable, but as I said, this seat base won't be here and it'll be replaced with a pillow, so I think it'll work out quite well. And I must admit, sitting in the back here, the way I am at the minute, I'm nowhere near where the unit would be, and I'm lovely and comfortable, and there's a lovely cool breeze coming in through that door, because that door is open. Haven't got this one open today, but there's a lovely cool breeze coming in through there, and I'm looking out the tailgate as we are at the moment. Now obviously I haven't been open the tailgate yet because I haven't put the batteries on yet, but as I can see through the tailgate window, I can just imagine myself now parked up on the edge of some lake somewhere, maybe in the Lake District, or maybe in Scotland, or maybe down in Wales, somewhere like that, parked up at the edge of a lake, the windows down, the tailgate's open, there's a lovely breeze coming through, and I'm sat here eating a meal that I've cooked either at the side of my car or in the back of my car, and I'm just relaxing, comfortable, and seeing a fantastic view out there. And I won't be hearing all the voices I can hear now at the minute as people walk past the house while I'm trying to video this, which is always it. Every time I pick a camera up, somebody walks past. Never mind. But I think this is going to work out all right. I'll give you a hint at the view behind the camera that I can see. Now, obviously, you'll have to imagine that those two houses aren't there, and that tailgate, that spare wheel rather, isn't in the way, and the ladder on the right-hand side isn't in the way either, because they both swing back out of the way. So they'll be swung back out of the way, so you can't see them. The tailgate, you can see there, that'll be folded flat. The window will be down inside the tailgate, and you'll just have a perfect view there of, I don't know, a lake, mountains, a lot of greenery, something like that, instead of those two houses that are down there. But the way I'm sitting now, that's the kind of view I'm getting. I'm just imagining it now. It's a shame I haven't got some kind of backdrop I could put over the outside of that window so it would look in, it would look as though I was there now, wouldn't it? But yeah, this is insanely peaceful and comfortable as well. It's surprisingly comfortable. Now, tempted as I am to nip in the house, make a quick sandwich, grab a drink, and come back out here and demonstrate what it would be like to actually have something to eat and drink in the back of here. Unfortunately, I haven't got time for that. Quite apart from the fact I need to edit this video, because I'd like you to see this as soon as possible, because I'm excited by it. I think this will work. I think this is going to be really good. Now, of course, I'm not building this for me personally to live in. I'm not really building it for anyone else to live in either. I imagine if you wanted to, you could. But in my mind, I'm thinking of maybe 1 or 2 nights away in it, just for a change, somewhere to go and explore the rest of the UK, or even further afield for a couple of nights. I mean, you could always combine it with a hotel somewhere. If you went, if you went to Europe or you went somewhere else, you always go down in this and maybe stop off somewhere on the way down for a night or a couple of nights, and then travel on to where you're going, get a hotel, and you could go around exploring that part of Europe you were in, and stay a couple of nights away from where your hotel was and just book another hotel. But as far as the UK is concerned, and for my personal use of this car, I'm thinking a night, a couple of nights, maybe 2 or 3 nights, or 4 nights at most, something like that, maybe a week. I think it would work out well for that. Yeah, and we're definitely getting there. Things just seem to be sorting themselves out bit by bit as I go looking for things. I do still have to design the bed, and obviously we've got to get it running and get it sorted out and go down with tea. But there's no harm in designing what's going to happen in the back of it while I'm waiting for everything to work, for everything else to fall into place, is there? So if you enjoyed this one, you found any kind of value in it at all, or it's just entertained you for a while, maybe it's given you an insight into what you can do with an old four-wheel drive car or an estate car, because effectively that's what it is. It's just an estate car with four-wheel drive. Then caress the like button on the way out and consider subscribing to the channel so you can keep up to date with the rest of this build and the stuff I'm doing on all the other cars that are out there as well. Thanks for watching this one. See you in the next one. Bye for now.